The land of Israel groaned beneath the weight of its own disobedience. The Israelites once again turned away from the Lord their God. They worshipped Baal and Asherah, chasing the idols of their enemies. So the Lord gave them into the hands of the Midianites for 7 years. The Midianites were ruthless, like locusts upon the land. They destroyed Israel's crops, stole their livestock, and left nothing but hunger and fear. God's people hid in caves and mountains, broken and afraid. But their cries reached heaven once more. Then the Lord sent a prophet to Israel, saying,
I brought you up out of Egypt. I rescued you, slavery, but you have not listened to me.
And the silence of heaven lingered, until God chose a man. In Ophrah, a man named Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress, hiding from the Midianites. He was not a warrior, not yet. But heaven was watching. Then, the angel of the Lord appeared and said,
The Lord is with you, mighty warrior.
Gideon froze. He was no warrior, no hero, just a man trying to feed his family in secret.
If the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about?
Go in the strength you have and save Israel from the Midianites.
But how? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family.
I will be with you, and you will strike down the Midianites as if they were one man.
Gideon asked for a sign. He brought meat and bread, and placed them on a rock. The angel touched it with his staff, and fire rose from the stone. Then the angel disappeared. Gideon fell to his knees, trembling.
Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face.
Still uncertain, Gideon built an altar and called it "The Lord is Peace." That night, the Lord gave him a command to tear down his father's altar to Baal. Under cover of darkness, Gideon obeyed. Fearing the townspeople, the altar of Baal crumbled. The Asherah pole fell. When morning came, the town rose in fury.
Who has done this?
They discovered it was Gideon, the son of Joash. But his father stood firm, saying,
Will you contend for Baal, or will you save him? If you will contend for Baal, let him be put to death this morning. If Baal is a god, let him defend himself, because someone has pulled him down.
And from that day, he called Gideon Jerubbaal, meaning let Baal contend against him, because he had contend against him. Soon the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern tribes joined forces and crossed the Jordan and encamped in the valley of Jezreel to fight Israel. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and took possession of him, and he blew a trumpet. Men from all Israel rallied to him. Trumpets sounded across the hills of Manasseh. But still, Gideon doubted. And he said to God,
Lord, if you will truly save Israel through me, show me a sign. If there is dew on the fleece only, and it is dry on all the ground, and then I shall know that you have chosen me.
And it was so. But still, Gideon doubted. And he said to God,
Do not be angry, Lord, but let me test once more. This time, let the fleece be dry, and the ground wet.
He laid out a fleece on the threshing floor. The next morning, the fleece was soaked, and the ground dry. The Lord had spoken, not in thunder, but in patience. Gideon gathered 32,000 men, but the Lord said,
You have too many. Israel would boast about themselves against me, saying, "My own hand has delivered me."
So Gideon sent home the fearful, 22,000 departed. 10,000 remained.
Still too many. Bring them to the water. I will test them for you.
300 men cupped water in their hands, ready and alert. And the Lord said,
Everyone who laps up the water with his tongue as a dog laps it, he shall set by himself. Likewise, everyone who bows down on his knees to drink. With these 300, I will deliver Israel.
During that night the Lord said to Gideon,
Get up, go down against the camp, because I am going to give it into your hands. If you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah, and listen to what they are saying. Afterward, you will be encouraged to attack the camp.
That night, Gideon crept toward the enemy camp, torches flickering in the valley below. He overheard a Midianite soldier say,
Dreamed of a barley loaf rolling into our camp. It struck a tent and it fell. That dream means Gideon, God has delivered Midian into his hands.
Gideon's heart leaped. It was a sign. The Lord had already sown fear into their enemies. Dividing his men into 3 companies, Gideon armed them not with swords, but with trumpets, torches, and empty jars.
Get your trumpets, jars, and torches. The Lord has given us victory. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout, for the Lord and for Gideon.
At the changing of the watch, they blew the trumpets, broke the jars, and cried,
A sword for the Lord and for Gideon!
The Midianites were confused and panicked. In terror, they turned their swords on each other. The army fled, and the men of Israel pursued them to the Jordan. The Lord himself fought for Israel that night. They also captured 2 of the Midianite leaders, Oreb and Zeb. They killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and Zeb at the winepress of Zeb. They pursued the Midianites and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon, who was by the Jordan. So all the men of Ephraim were called out, and they seized the waters of the Jordan as far as Beth-barah. Yet pride and conflict followed victory. The tribe of Ephraim quarreled with Gideon, demanding credit. But he answered with humility, calming their anger. Later, the people of Succos and Penuel refused to aid him. When the battle ended, Gideon returned and punished them for their arrogance. Israel begged Gideon to rule over them, saying, Be our king, you and your descendants. Then Gideon replied,
I will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you.
For the rest of his life, the land had peace, 40 years of rest throughout Gideon's lifetime. Now Gideon had 70 sons born to him, for he had many wives. And his concubine, who was in Shechem, she also bore him a son, whom he named Abimelech. But when he died, the people turned away once more, and the cycle of sin began once more. They also failed to show any loyalty to the family of Jerubbaal, that is, Gideon, in spite of all the good things he had done for them.
Remember, it was never your strength that saved you. It was my hand.
Yet heaven never forgot Gideon, the man who dared to believe that weakness could become a weapon in God's hand. And so the story of Gideon remains, a whisper of courage, a reminder of grace. That even in the weakest hands, God's power can bring victory. Courage is born in trust, and hope flourishes when we listen to the call of the Lord. In every shadowed valley, His light can be found, if we are willing to follow.